Hello. Today I'm going to talk to you about how you can use your pension and any investments you might have to do a little bit of extra good in the world. Welcome to Green Tutors. Like lots of people in the UK these days, I've got a small private pension, and it struck me the other day that I really should be using that money to, as it were, vote for change. And it's a really powerful way of doing so. There are huge numbers of organisations around the world these days divesting themselves of investments that may have in oil or gas or companies that produce weapons and that sort of thing. And your financial vote, as it were, can be incredibly powerful. Up until now, I've largely selected my choice of funds based on their past performance and how well I think they're likely to do in the future. And inevitably, I've chosen, slightly selfishly perhaps, those ones which are likely to perform the best, or at least I hope they will perform the best. I have had some choices in ethical funds, but I've found historically they've not performed quite as well, so I've chosen to stick to the better performing ones mostly. Now, I've come to the conclusion that that really isn't going to cut it. It's all very well me having a nice pension, but if the world's ruined because I've put my money in the wrong place, obviously it's not solely down to me, then that's not such a good thing. But I decided I really should up my game a little bit. Plus, some of the ethical funds actually seem to be performing as well, if not better, than some of the more traditional funds. So what is an ethical fund? Well, you might see the three letters ESG in some funds that you select, and that stands for environmental, societal and governance. And it's effectively a minimum bar. What that means is the fund manager won't select companies to invest in that deal in oil or gas or trade in arms, and it also means that they won't use companies that use child labour, for example. But all workers have reasonable wages given at the country that they live in and good working conditions. So it's a good thing to invest in ESG funds, and certainly should be considered a minimum bar. But what was actually my catalyst for change and the sort of kick that made me realise I should actually get on and do something was a newsletter through a company called Hargreaves Lansdown, which is the pension provider that I use. The newsletter's online, so I'll post a link to that in the description below. And what they talked about was not just selecting funds which meet that minimum bar, but ones that can actually make a positive change with the money that they are investing on your behalf. One of them is actually called Positive Change, and I really like that. And those funds perform really well as well. So that made me realise that I can choose funds which will meet my requirements for my retirement, hopefully, assuming I get there, but also be actually making a positive change and not just at minimum ESG bar. So based on that, I have been moving over the last month or so all of my investments. There's not a huge amount, but I've been moving my investments from the various funds that I did have into a mixture of both ESG ethical funds and also some positive change ones. So my message today is perhaps you could do the same thing. Have a look at your pension, have a look at any other investments that you've got which might be invested in funds, and decide, is the money that I have here doing good for the world? Am I voting financially for change, for positive steps, or am I quietly, through ignorance or lack of interest, or just simply because you've not bothered to take a look, are you in fact investing in companies that actually, when you sat down and thought about it, perhaps you wouldn't be so comfortable with? So don't leave your pension to chance, don't leave it for somebody else to decide. Go and have a look at your pension. Go and look at your funds, see what they are doing, see where they are invested, and see if you too can make a positive change. Anyway, thank you for listening to me today. I hope you didn't find it too preachy, but I've got to get on with my DIY. I'll see you for the next one. Thanks.